Thinking they're coming up.
Yes.
We'll see.
3 out of the 4 anyway.
If the turning leaf should be coming soon. But welcome everybody. Look, it says we started a live video.
Yeah, it did.
I don't know if we're live over there. We can't see it. But welcome everybody to Monday Night Live. We are excited to join you on all 3 of our feeds. We can't tell if the turning leaf is doing what it's supposed to be doing. So
it's all good. It's all good.
We're stoked. Yeah, Kate's got it under control. So as we get started, we are super excited about tonight's topic, and tonight the continuation of really just talking about what is happening.
Right.
And we have a lot of things that are going on. We've got a lot of people watching from all over, and we know that we're in the middle of this corona virus stuff.
Right.
It was so interesting. Kate and I were like, okay, well, let's maybe not talk about the coronavirus tonight.
I think I pretty much said, let's talk about anything but corona.
And here we are. Talking about. So, hello, LaDonna.
LaDonna, thank you very much.
Hopefully we don't cut out too much. But the interesting thing about all of this is the different things that are going on out in our communities. And I want to make sure that's not on Wi-Fi. So we here in St. George, we tend to be a little bit farther behind than, say, New York City.
Right.
And so
or LA or Chicago.
LA,
like the big
Chicago.
Cities in the States.
Yes. And so things are a little bit different. So we know that that what our responses are and what's going on in our communities are going to be a little bit delayed, so to speak, as compared to Michigan or Chicago, and LA, like you said, and some of these others. So the piece that we really wanted to focus on tonight is really about coping mechanisms.
This is it's interesting being here in the West, where we do have a lot more space in between us, right, than being right on top of each other in a big city. So I'll just speak from my own personal experience for just a minute, but it's been interesting to watch as COVID has ramped up, right, in like the bigger areas and stuff, and like trying to figure out how to navigate that here in our little Southern Utah community, but hearing and feeling all of the as the virus, has become more impactful in a lot of people's lives, and trying to it's been interesting. I feel like I'm just tiptoeing around landmines a little bit, right? Like, I'm not supposed to go out, but our community hasn't really been affected yet, but, like it's been this like cat and mouse game, it's felt like almost a little bit from where we're located here in Southern Utah. Yeah,
it's a little less impacted. We are a lot more remote, but it is still, the impact is starting to be felt here more. We know that we're starting to have now some active cases that are coming in. I think we've got one in Southern Utah at the moment, as well as statewide. We have a few, into the, I think, hundreds.
Yeah, you're pretty good about keeping up with the stats.
So these things are I know, and I think it's because I'm 50. In my 50s, like I think all of us in my age group are like, stats, give me stats,
give me numbers.
But it is interesting to see, and the people that are impacted and the people that aren't impacted, the people that need to be impacted,
right,
and the people that need not be impacted, and
where do you land on all of that?
We know who you are, toilet paper people. All right, we know who you are, but it is a broad range, and so as I'm working with clients from Chicago, my clients in Chicago to Montana to Sacramento, and even down into Florida, any of the clients that I have nationwide that I'm working with right now, it's all about how do I deal with being at home? How do I deal with taking this time? Because it creates a lot of anxiety and creates a lot of fear. And so I think this topic tonight of really jumping into the 8 essential coping skills and talking about the coping skills that are going to be the most beneficial and helping us navigate through this.
Right. And in like just continue on what I was saying earlier, like even our schools were out on spring break last week.
Yes.
So right now is really when our community is starting to feel that impact of, oh, there is no school. Like we're doing the homeschool thing, right? And the restaurants are shut down and are doing just takeout now, and like all those kinds of things that some of the other parts of the country and the world have been experiencing for a lot longer than us.
Right.
So I think you're spot on, Dean, to be able to talk about how we manage this kind of isolation period by still able to get our needs met.
Yes. So knowing that one of the biggest coping skills is communication, as I stutter my way through that. Really learning to communicate and learning how to communicate is a critical tool. A lot of parents have kids home from school right now. A lot of these kids aren't going to be going back to school. Some schools have closed out the year even, from what I'm hearing rumor of back east. And they won't be returning for the remainder of the year, colleges, etc. I know ours is still debating where they're going to land, but last I heard it was going to be the beginning of May. So, which is intriguing because that's like 2 weeks of school left, because we get out mid-May. But the point being is that how do I manage with my kids being at home? How do I manage being out of work for a period of time?
Right.
You know, I do love watching these celebrities. I think it's intriguing. They're putting up all their posts of them. Oh, hey, we're here doing our quarantine thing. And it does crack me up how much energy we put into watching other people.
Yes.
That really their job is to entertain us, and we're still out here like, please entertain keep us. Entertaining me. But there are a lot of things that we can do with one another. And one of the things that I would really encourage us to be doing in our communication is really passing on information. This is a real great time for parents and families to really start talking about their lives and their history. I can't tell you how many times I sit down with young people and I ask them this question. It's hilarious. I go, how did your parents meet? And do you know what they say?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think they met at a dance or something, or I think they met at college, but they don't know. And then I ask them, and there are some that will tell me, oh, they met, at college, or they met at a blind date or whatever. So then I ask, well, how did your grandparents meet? And they don't know. And so there's a lot of opportunity for the entertainment that we can be having with one another, is really kind of getting back to our roots as human beings and really getting back into the storytelling.
Storytelling, yeah.
And really talking about the history and the stories about who we are as a human species and who we are as families. And I think that's extremely important for us to have those conversations so that our children understand who they are.
Oh, I really love it. In fact, I'm remembering a live that we did around Christmas time where we talked about how we're always wanting to create that beautiful Norman Rockwell experience, right?
Yeah.
Well, here's a great opportunity to get everybody around, and the weather's still cold and rainy, so light the fire.
She has been on this all day, people.
I'm sorry, I'm angry.
She walked in here dressed in black. She's like, this is my mood.
You outed me.
I did out you. I owed you.
We're even.
Now we're even.
That's true, though. Dean, being cooped up in the house all weekend.
Oh, look, Kayla said you look great.
Thank you, Kayla.
Yes.
Oh, I'm a Scorpio. I can pull black off. But, however, being, trying to do my best with social distancing and really not necessarily having the best nutritional landscape go on, i.e.
Yeah, there's not a lot of good opportunities unless there's a lot of fresh out there.
Well, I just love all the memes that I've seen that's like, it's day 1 of quarantine and I've ate through all of my snacks. Well, yeah, that's real life, right? Like that happened Saturday night into Sunday for me. So I was really stoked to get out and get my exercise in this morning out in beautiful Mother Nature, and she's raining on me. So yeah, I was struggling.
You were.
But back to topic.
And now it's sunny.
I know.
Which is great when we're at work.
I started singing "The Sun'll Come Out"
and I
earlier.
Said,
listen, Andy.
I'm like, listen, Andy, let's take a break and get on topic.
But
we totally digressed off of our topic.
To gather everybody around
Yes.
and talk and share. And I think that that's a really cool key piece, Dean, that you just brought out, to be able to reminisce and to really, that's how we have like some of the old storytelling, right?
Yes.
Some of the old nursery rhymes. I'm having a hard time coming up with the right word, right? Like our fables, our parables, and everything that get passed down via that storytelling. In fact, when I was a little girl, I can remember going to the library, and they had that like key area, you know. And we had a woman that would come, and I wanted to be her. Like you wanted to be a garbage man, I wanted to be the storytelling lady. She had a cool dress that had like patches everywhere, and she would tell us stories.
Wow!
And I loved her. I wanted to be her. So I think I love that you brought that up.
Yeah.
Not only just communicating and talking to one another, but passing on our legacy and our history.
And I think I know that's an important part of who we are as humans. We have got to get to a point where we are passing that information on. And not only that, we've got to get to the point where we're listening and understanding who others in our lives are. And we don't understand how important that connection is. And here's why that's important. It's called perspective. And perspective is created. And we talked a little bit about this on our podcast, or is that right? Our podcast, yeah.
We started our podcast.
Yeah, our podcast, and we launched them, so they'll be tagged in these, in this feed. But the point being is that perspective is important. We fear the unknown. So in this time going on, there's a lot of unknown. We don't know what's going on. We're kind of wondering what's going to happen. We keep waiting for more information. We keep waiting for what's next. But the reality of it is that when we get more perspective, when we get a broader understanding of life, when we can create a deeper understanding of history, life, etc., then we are less afraid. And so sitting down and hearing some of these stories, talking to our parents, talking to our families, and even listening to our children share from their histories and their stories, the way they perceive them, is really important perspective that we need in our lives.
Absolutely. And I think that, like, just to piggyback on that too, I know that there's, I've been talking to a number of mothers who their kids just are not understanding what's, we as adults don't really understand everything that's going on, right? And so you put a 6-year-old in that position, and they're just like, why can't I go play? Why are we not going back to school? Why didn't we get to go to California for our spring break? Like all of these things, right? Like, so being able to communicate with them in a way that they can understand it. And I think telling some of those histories is a great way to do that.
Yeah, and I think that is such an important piece in perspective and helping them understand. The other thing that we want to be able to do as a coping skill during this period of time is we've got to start making sure that we are creating movement in our lives. It's so easy to get camped out on the couch. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's so easy to get out
in front of the Xbox, right?
In front of the Xbox, and stuck on Instagram. I don't know.
Oh my gosh!
Anybody ever have that experience like me? I'm like stuck on Instagram. Like I can't like keep my finger from like scrolling. I'm like, stop. But we get stuck and we get camping, and we get to that point where we're not moving. We're not physically moving. We're not physically getting up. And emotionally, that's not healthy for us. Right. Emotionally, that creates a lot of stagnant energy. We hold energy in our body. We need to be up. We need to be moving. We need to be doing things. And I love the social media that we see where people are like, lifting water bottles, and they're lifting
the 10 push-up challenge.
10 push-up challenge that's going, which I think is awesome.
I do too. I do think it's great.
Because we're getting people moving, and we need to get movement in our lives. So there are parts of where we are where you can get outside. And I think, yes, if we're going to get outside and go through a grocery store, go through some of these other places that may expose others to us or to us to them, that's one thing. But like here in southern Utah, as well as parts
when
of maybe
it's not raining,
it's just like a little rain cloud. I need to just get one.
Listen, I'm just trying to send a clear message to God that no, Not right now. You can't send us Corona and the rain.
I'm not sure if he watches Facebook or Instagram, but if he is, he'll get your message. Kate is displeased, but there are parts. You're killing me today. So there are parts, Iowa and even parts of California, more rural areas like we're in. This is an opportunity for us to get out and do a little bit of outside excursion and hiking, that keeps us from, too much close social. We can stay distanced, but to get up in the hills, to get up and do some hiking, get up and get some movement going is so absolutely important. I know I love Iowa. I bring up Iowa. I think it's one of the most beautiful places. I loved Iowa. And, there's some beautiful rolling hills. There's a lot of long walks, even up in New York, as I've been up in upper state. And it's a little bit colder, obviously, right now with some of the storms that have gone through. But there's still a lot of beautiful things. Speaking of Iowa, Jeff and Joyce just tuned in. So there's a lot of beautiful rolling hills. There's places we can ride bikes. There's things that we can do. And movement is that coping skill. We've got to get our body moving because it does affect our mental well-being and our mental health.
Absolutely. And I was just sitting here thinking, not even just for our physical well-being, because of how important it is to be able to connect to that nature source, like to get out in the sun and get your toes in the dirt or whatever it is that you need to do is going to be huge for your mental and emotional health at this time.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that it's really important too, while we all kind of, and I think sometimes taking a couple of days to just be like, oh yeah, Corona's giving me a really good excuse to just chill and Netflix, right? Or Netflix and chill. I got that switched about.
Yeah.
But it is really important to realize that when you start really doing that in a long-term behavior, starting to create new habits that you've worked really hard not to do, right? In your normal everyday existence, to like be productive and have a good routine and all of that kind of stuff. It's critical that you continue to do that during these times. It's critical to be able to still feel the difference between night and day.
Yes.
Don't get like sucked into that Vegas casino idea where you have no idea what's up from down and night from day. And if we stay indoors too much and don't give ourselves that circadian rhythm, did I use the right word there?
That circadian.
Yeah, then that also can really start to do a lot of damage on us mentally and emotionally.
100%. I agree.
Yeah, and I do think that it is one of the places that tends to fall off the level of importance wagon when we're in moments of crisis, right? So it's like, okay, I got this wagon. These are the things that are super essential. And we leave our mental and emotional health behind on the trail because we're like, oh, I'll be okay. I can take care of that later, right?
Yeah.
When in reality, they should be in the front of the cart hanging out with us.
Yes.
Because there's no way that you can, we've talked about this a number of times, if you're not taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, like taking care of all of that, how on earth are you going to be able to take care of those that need you to help take care of them?
Yes, yes. And so we've got some people, hello Alyssa, thank you for that, tuning in, and I agree, there was a vitamin D helps the immune system.
Oh, yes.
A lot of great comments coming in, so it is important to get out in the sun and really... and don't mean to poke a sore spot with you, but get out in the sun and enjoy, some of this weather. It's a sun lamp. All right. Somebody suggested a sun lamp for Kate. This is a good episode tonight. If you're watching, I'm hoping you're having a good roll. So, but again, going back to one other coping skill as we're running out of time, I do want to jump into also faith and hope. Yes. Faith and hope are really, really important. A lot of times people center faith around religion. Right. But faith is more than that. Faith is also the ability to have faith in yourself, to have faith in humanity, to have faith in the system, to have faith in the processes that are going on. But once we express that faith, then we create hope. And hope is something that we use to combat depression. Mm-hmm. We need hope. We need to have hope out there that things are better and things are getting better and things will get better. Yes. And the more that we can deliver hope to ourselves and the more we can deliver hope to others around us, the more powerful we become and the more grounded we become and the more healthy that we become. But again, it's through expressing that faith. And we have to express faith in ourselves and in all of those other things I just forementioned, and really be able to have that ability to have hope. And we need to create and generate hope. So be aware of your self-talk. Be aware of your negative self-talk. Making sure that you're not getting into that negative headspace and taking your hope away. It's so easy to do. And also, those around you are impacted by that.
Yes, that's exactly what I was just
As you're talking negatively, as you're getting that negative headspace, it takes hope away from those with you and around you, especially when you are such an important person in everyone's life.
Yes, absolutely. And take control of the information that you have. We kind of let in with that, right? But if you're just like constantly feeding yourself on the news sources that are like, this is everything that's scary and hard and bad right now, then of course that's going to like be your situation in your auric sphere, right? So being able to have control of that, be informed. I'm not saying don't be informed, but I am saying don't like submerge yourself in that spin so that you can have and increase that space of faith and hope.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're out of time. Thank you everybody again. There were some great comments. Thank you, Alyssa. Keep working on that faith. Brenda said,
speak of need, I'm calling tomorrow to take advantage of your sweet deals I just received. Yes, we are.
Yes.
Dean and I both are working real hard at making sure that we're staying available to you guys. We've got Zoom, we've got Skype, we've got FaceTime, or whatever Google platform has. I've got the iPhone, he's got the Android.
Yep.
So call. We've got some really sweet, I love how I'm like, our deals are sweet, but they are. They're really good right now because your guys' emotional mental health is important to us. It
is important. And I think that's one of the things that really going to be fighting, not in a rebellious way, but we're going to be fighting to keep ourselves available and via Skype or phone. There are those that need to have the one-on-ones. We are still here taking one-on-ones, but we're using social distancing and cleaning consistently to make sure that people are safe. But it is important that we are focusing on our mental health. It is important that we are focusing on those things that help people move forward. And we will be here as long and as much as we possibly can for you. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We've gone over our time. As always, the lovely Kate Semmens, Dean Nixon, Turning Leaf, St. George, Utah. Thank you for tuning in. Like and share our videos. Oh, podcasts.
Yep.
Hopefully you listen to them.
We're going to get you the info.
Talk to you soon.
Have a great week.
Now, I don't know how to end it now that they've done that update up